Hi, I'm Rashid Ogunlaru, coach, speaker, and author, and this is our Embracing Change and Uncertainty video, which is part of my Coaching Yourself and Your Team Compassionate Leadership series for NHS Southeast Leadership Academy as part of the Leadership Shorts videos to help you on this extraordinary and rewarding journey of being your own leader. But one of the things that we certainly know, or we'll soon discover, of course, is that there's a huge amount of change and uncertainty in leadership, in life, in organizations in our world. So over the next 10 minutes, perhaps even up to 15 minutes, perhaps, we're going to be looking at how is it that we embrace change and uncertainty? And there's a strange thing here about change and uncertainty. On the one hand, we want change. We want things to change personally, professionally, in our lives, in our careers, in the organization. We're passionate, we're eager for it. Perhaps we're working for it, we're advocating. On the other hand, there's a side of us that often is very, very afraid of change. We want everything to stay the same. So the first thing here perhaps is to recognize that we human beings are a little bit duplicitous about this thing, about change. Then the next thing we need to realize is that life is uncertain. Life is uncertain. To go back for a moment to the change thing, think about it. We've changed constantly. Baby, infant, toddler, young child, adolescent, adulthood, various stages in life. Think about different bits of your life. Relationships have changed. Friendships have changed. Your family makeup may well have changed. All of these change. And there's a lot of uncertainty. And perhaps as human beings, we're desperate to try and make things uncertain. That are uncertain, slightly more certain. We want plans, we want goals, we want things to be fixed. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rashid Ogunlaru. I'm a coach, speaker, and author, and a lot of the work that I do is to help individuals and organizations and leaders through change, their own change, what's going on in their organization and the wider world. I wonder if you've heard of this. Many of you may well have, that they say we live in this VUCA world. Volatile, things that can suddenly shift shape, uncertain. We won't always know what's going to be happening, what's going to be around the corner. We touched on that already. Complex, many different people, many different views, many different aspects of who we are, even within ourselves. Complex, an extraordinarily complex system. Some of you perhaps have done work around systems leadership, all sorts of different elements in the systems within our organizations, different departments, etc., in our worlds and so on. There's a lot of complexity. And things are often ambiguous, or we may not always be quite sure, well, how's this done, how's that done? Even sometimes within a team, within a project, things can seem ambiguous. So again, what can really help us here is for us just to note that, to be aware, to acknowledge that. And you can see I've put a few different quotes here that may well help you on this journey of embracing change and uncertainty. The first of all, there are ultimately two choices in life. We can fight it or we can embrace it. If we fight it, ultimately we're going to lose. Strange thing is that sometimes fighting is part of the human condition, but the danger is if we stay there for too long, it's going to damage us, others, or everything that we're involved in. So what we're wanting to do is come to a point where we can embrace it. Something else is really, and when we do embrace it, we can become at one with this ever-changing system of life. Think about it, the seasons change, everything's changed, as we've touched on. The other element here that's really important, one of the things that can really help you as you embrace it, is to know your magic, to trust your magic, and know that you too are a manifestation of this magic, however it is that we look at it. I've also put another one of my quotes here too. People ask you the question, how's life treating you? But my question is, how are you treating life? How is it you show up? What's your mindset? How can you show up with your heart? How can you be authentically you? So, let's pause, let's breathe. First thing when it comes to embracing change is to be aware. Sometimes as human beings, we're so busily doing this and that with our to-do list. We pause, or we haven't paused in order to see the big picture. So I often talk about in leadership, one of the first things to do is zoom out and see the bigger picture. Animals are good at this. If you watch cats, If you watch things like birds, imagine being for a moment like an eagle, that eagle-eyed view, or the way that a cat will observe, a small cat or a big cat like a lion, observe, so that they can become aware of where they are in the environment, what is, what's going on in the landscapes, what's shifting, what's changing. So think about that. What's going on for you personally? What's going on in your own life personally? Might be things in terms of your own health, near to your dear ones, that you've been unaware of because you've been like that. So first of all, we need to become aware of ourselves personally, what's going on for us professionally, what's going on with our team, what's going on in our broader organization, in our industry. Once we become aware, we can become alert. And the alert means that we can plan, we can prepare, we can be poised, ready to shift. We can anticipate. Then the question is, change is happening. Perhaps you're in the middle of change now, might be change going on in your industry, for you personally, in relationships, with friendships, with your colleagues, with your boss. Happens all the time. Are you angry? Are you accepting? Anger, for a moment, if we touched on, is a fuel, so it can spare change. It's something to be understood. I think of anger a little bit like fire, but we need to be very, very mindful about it. You cannot hold on for it too long, otherwise it's going to burn you, others, or everything. But it can kickstart that shift of a change, a conversation that needs to be had, some work that needs to be done, things that you need to work on, things that need to be developed, things that perhaps need to be addressed. But then acceptance is often misunderstood. Acceptance isn't about being passive. No, it's about acknowledging, and it's about, okay, here I am. Here's where we are. Here's what the team is. Here's the project that we've been left with. Here's the things that I'm going to need to work on. To breathe, and then I can become armed and able, okay, what are the things that, what's the information I need? So if you think we've got a circle here, first of all, I'm aware, then I'm alert. Am I angry and ready to move into acceptance? And bear in mind, this isn't just going on for you, it might be going for others too, or everybody in your team, and everybody could be in different places. Armed and able, what's the information, the resources, the skills, the support I need, or I'm going to need for my team? What's the action I'm going to need to take? And then I can adapt. It's a circle, it's ongoing, but the key thing is participation, anticipation, communication throughout, and cooperation. So, there's going to be a few things that are going to be key as we are faced with change, as we try and embrace change. Your mindset, that can-do attitude, that open-mindedness, because things are going to be shifting, open-mindedness. The skill set, we might need to gather new skill set, and we're going to need to be resourceful to help us plan, to prepare, to be proactive, to think about the people involved, and so on. This might be useful for you. Well, this is a prompt that I've put together here, which makes us think a little bit about change. Is the change a small change, or a radical change, a huge change? Comfort zone, is it something that you're at a point where you want to extend your comfort zone, or where you're being pushed out of your comfort zone? And then I put 3 circles inside: your character, your circumstances, your competence, the challenge or the courage. This is something you could look at for yourself, for your team, for an individual you're working with. What's the starting point here? Which is the strength? For some people, it might be, you might be the kind of person whereby actually you like the challenge. So it might be the challenge. Okay, what's the challenge? And the challenge makes you then, is a starting point to prompt the rest of it. Or you might be somebody who knows more about your character and your own circumstances or your own competence, and that gives you the strength to pick up on other things. Or it might well just, sometimes you might be the kind of person who for whom it's about courage, and that might be your starting point. We're all different here. What's the skills, resources, and the network of things that you already have? Perhaps you need to be aware of or acknowledge that perhaps there might be some things that are unknown. But what are the things that are in your consciousness, or that might be in other people might be conscious of? Maybe you need to have them some conversations, and maybe there are some things that you can't know yet. What's going on in the environment, the resources? These things may well help you along this journey. So, where you're right now, perhaps pause and think about a particular scenario where you are at right now. What's going on in the context, in the environment? What do you need to be aware of and alert to? What do you need to act on, and when do you need to act on? Maybe actually, there's this particular shift, I'm going to need to do this particular work with this team member now that's going through this challenge. Or here are the things that are coming down the road for our organization, but they need to be acted on after the spring, after the summer, after the winter, etc. What are the things that you need to accept and acknowledge? And within that might be some things you need to let go of, that maybe you can't control, some things that you might need to let others do. You need to delegate, or ask your boss or somebody else to get involved in. Might be some things to watch and note and park, some things that you may not be able to address now. And your own expectations and other people's expectations. Do those goals and expectations need to be broadened or reduced sometimes? Because sometimes your own or other people's expectations need to be reviewed or renegotiated. So I hope that these have given you a few things to help you to pause and to plan and to prepare. I want you to perhaps reflect on, okay, what's I've learned or remembered? What's the action you need to take? A couple of things that might help here. Pause and reflect on the journey that you've already been on, the challenges that you've already seen, the change that you've already seen, and how did you navigate yourself through that change might help you very hugely here. And then perhaps to think about where you are on this cycle, what perhaps you need to be aware of, what you need to be alert to, what you need to act on. So I hope the things today have really helped you. And there may well be other videos in this series that may well help you on this journey of facing and embracing change. So remember, change happens, it's constant. Sometimes it's so subtle we don't need it. More we can be aware, more we can alert, more it is that we're able to begin to accept, and more it is that we can become armed, skillful, resourceful, and mindful. And it's the kind of thing that will make us stronger and stronger as a leader throughout the journey. Thank you so much. I want to wish you all the best. I'm going to stop sharing this. I want to wish you all the best on your journey. I've been Rashid Ogunlorun. Take good care. See you soon. Bye-bye.